Welcome everybody to another episode of Halftime Heroes right here on Wildcat Sports Live. Alan, it seems like it's been 5 years since we last did this.
Well, it's been one Corona season, that's for sure.
Which is equivalent of 5 years.
Yes.
Are you talking about beer now? Or are you talking about
COVID, I should say COVID.
We aired an honorary episode for your grandmother, Miss Francis, the Ridgeland game. Then a certain four-letter network took over the Prince Avenue game. So this is our first fresh show of the season.
Of the 2020 season, that's correct. And what better way to start it off than have somebody that was here on the very first team.
The very first team.
Mickey Long.
well, my real name is James A.
Long.
But
Yes.
I've always gone by Mickey, and there's not a person in Raven County knew my real name. It's always been Mickey.
Tell us about, and you were a senior on that very first football team ever.
That's correct.
And that was in the fall of '49?
In the fall of '49, they had a group of guys that they were going to start football, so we all signed up for it. And like I was telling you a little earlier, that we had 4 seniors on that squad, and the rest of them were sophomores and freshmen and sub-freshmen, really.
Now, a senior back then meant 11th grader, right?
11th grade, 16, most of them were 16 years old. There's some that went back to school and ended up being a little older than that.
My understanding is you were in the very last class that graduated 11th graders.
That's correct.
And your actual graduation year was 1950.
1950.
And then after 51, we went to 12 grades?
There was no 51 class. My wife was the first of 52 classes.
I was going to say, I bet the 10th graders were pretty upset. Was there youth football? Was there like rec department football?
No.
Did we have a rec department?
There was nothing.
Was your senior year the first?
They just announced that they was going to start a football program, and I think Cumming was one of the other teams in North Georgia, and Roswell, Royston was the other team, and we ended up playing both of those coaches.
And who was the coach for that very first team?
Red Barron was a volunteer coach, and Gillespie was Marvin Gillespie came up, and he had played football somewhere before you got here, and taught them how to block and everything like that. We used Georgia Tech volunteered to give us some shoulder pads and thigh pads and hip pads.
What kind of quality was your equipment?
Well, some of them was too big, but it was all right. It was all right.
Now,
we had practice pants that were canvas. I don't know where
canvas
rings in the bell to, but they were practice. They had bought those for us and a jersey, and we didn't have 2 jerseys. We had a red jersey with white numerals on it and white cotton pants.
Now, Mickey, anybody that grew up in Rabun County, I know you married Cat Long.
Yeah, Cat McClure.
Cat McClure, I mean.
Cat McClure Long.
And y'all moved to Gainesville.
Yes, after about 15 years up here after we married.
Got in the construction business.
Yes.
But so some of the younger people might not have knew you from around here, but I guarantee you everybody around my age knew your sister.
Yes, Sally Forlines. I had 3 sisters, and all of them played basketball. I played basketball, but I wasn't very good. Now, I want to tell you that I was too small to play, but we all would participate in sports. And just about everybody in town did, because we didn't have 40, I think it's 46 in my graduating class.
Wow.
Well, Sally, she refereed every football game, youth football, basketball. She was just always there.
And she'd teach kids how to play tennis. She never played much tennis, but she knew how to play and how to teach it. And she did a great job with the youth now, really.
This is obscure, but she's the first person I ever knew of that had an answering machine. Because some friends of mine told me about it, and we would just call it up because we'd never heard of an answering machine before. But that's what sticks out the most about Sally.
Sally was the first girl that I ever seen shoot a jump shot. Most of them have been set shots, push shot. But Sally had to jump up and shoot. But she was one of the first ones I ever saw do that.
Well, now you married into a pretty athletic family
well,
too, didn't you?
Catherine McClure and all of her brothers, Larry and Parker wasn't much in basketball, but Larry, Bill, Tom, and Tim all played all the sports. And I'm talking about, we didn't have but baseball, football, and we started at football and basketball is all we had growing up.
Well, now
We don't have track and they don't allow us.
Judy Snyder, Coach Snyder's daughter, told me that apparently they lived near Tim and them growing up, but that Coach Snyder would make her run plays with Tim
Yeah.
when he was playing quarterback.
Yeah. Tim, they upset a team called Roswell, Georgia one year, and Roswell got suspended for it, but because of the fans on the game at the end of the thing. But they came out with a box and one offense. Roswell never saw it before in their life, and they just run all over Roswell.
Now you're talking about the basketball,
and football.
the Notre Dame box.
Notre Dame box.
Notre Dame box.
And they never saw it, and they run all over Roswell. Roswell was supposed to beat them, and I forgot where they were playing the game. It was a neutral field, but they ended up beating Roswell. And Roswell got suspended on account of the fans for 2 years. I think it was 2 years.
Well, now, Mickey, all these years, like I say, you on that very first team, and that's been 70 years ago, basically.
Yes.
71.
71.
Yeah. All those years, and you still come to the games.
Yes. And I go to all the games, high games, to be honest with you. But every time that I have the opportunity to come to Raven County, I come.
I've seen you at a bunch of Raven County games.
Yeah, I have been to a bunch of them. My sister, she goes to every game up here. She's from Habersham. She lives in Habersham now.
Oh, wow.
And she played basketball also for.
How many people were on that 1949 football team?
If you count sub freshmen and all, there's about 40 or 50.
Pretty good for just starting a football team.
But like I say, that we had those 3 or 4 boys that came back, 4 seniors, and everybody else.
Tell us that story. You started talking before we got on the air about you had a few people who already graduated.
There's William Tomlin and Robert Patterson, which is Delmo and Doyle's brother, and Cleo Dodson.
And they had already graduated?
They'd already graduated, and in fact, William was getting ready to go to Young Harris, and he backed out of going to Young Harris to play football and wanted to go out for the football team. They had to go back to school, though. They were allowed to go back to school and take some subjects for college, is what I think was the deal was. And that was the basis of the team, really. Those 3 older guys, and then some of us freshmen. Seniors came in, and there was just 4 seniors. Best I remember.
How many games did y'all play that year?
7.
Wow.
Won 5.
It's not bad.
Lost the first 2. Coming was the first game, and I'm going to dispute this little article a little bit. It said Jack Short kicked the ball. Henry Vickers kicked the ball. We played in mud, and they didn't want us to play in the normal bottom, so we had played in the canvas practice pants and uniform. And it was mud. I'm talking about mud that deep out in the field. And Henry kicked the ball, and it hit flat. And when it did, he just shoo, to the 1 yard line and stopped, just dead stopped at 1 yard line. And that's where they tackled him for his safety down there. And that's where we got the 2 points. It's 9 to 6, and 2 of the points was that. And then we scored a touchdown.
I've heard Henry Vickers' name mentioned several times about him being a good player.
Henry was a good athlete. Bob Vickers is his son. He played basketball, a great basketball player, and football. Anything else he wanted to play, really. He's good.
Starting on that first team with the hand-me-down uniforms, would you ever thought we would be a state contender?
No, never. I thought Snyder coming up here really put the fire in Raven County.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm glad he did. I knew him because my uncle had a service station down at Jefferson. You about Frank was going to come up here. I said, he ain't going to come up to Raven County. He said, yeah, he's going to come up to Raven County. Because he don't get along with the Jefferson mill people. And so he did come up there.
Well,
It's already gone by.
yeah, we're getting the sign that the time's up.
The hook.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, Mickey, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, we're glad to.
I'm glad we finally got you interviewed. It's unbelievable. 71 years later.
I just went back and
Well,
listened to that.
I still got my Raven County English now. I want you to know that. I've still got that.
You don't lose that.
I don't lose that.
It's like a
But
birthmark.
I'm proud to do it, and I'm proud of Raven County. I really am. I'm impressed with how far they've come. Probably got one of the best football players in the country today. I mean, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's everybody wants him. And
That's
I wish
right.
he'd go to a place I want to, but I'm not going to go there.
Good deal.
Well, you want to sign us off, Nathan?
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Halftime Heroes right here on Wildcat Sports Live, brought to you by Stockton & Stockton, attorneys at law.